will. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is October the 22nd of 22, and it's 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. Hello, Courtney, and welcome.
Hey.
I have Courtney of Pieces, Love, and Quilting with me tonight as we're getting ready to walk through what you're going to need in order to follow along or work through this next project. And I'm telling you what, it's going to be fun, fast, and amazing. So I'm going to slip into the chat. I was trying to join in and welcome everybody individually. So I'm going to do it personally as well tonight because you're taking your time on a Saturday night. I'm going to tell you hello. So let me see. Rich, hello. Yo, Patty G, welcome. I know, honey. Guess who, Nancy? Hello. Shelly Clark, hello, and welcome. Beverly Atkins, hello. And I think I'm caught up. Anybody that joins in late, I'll try to recognize them as they come in. There's a lot of people live tonight, so they can always catch us on the replay, and that's just fine. There's a lot of goodness with this pattern, and it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. I have Courtney with us tonight as I walk through. If I forget something, I need her to articulate and fill me in on anything, little tidbits and tricks along the way. Hello, Donna Dixon, Crafty Panda, Miss Mary. Hello, beautiful, and welcome. So with that being said, the first thing that you're definitely going to need is the pattern, because we're not going to give you all the directions. We're not going to give you all that personal stuff. You're going to have to buy the pattern. There's no way that we can share this. We can't send it through an email. And I've had a couple of requests. We can't do that because that would be against the policies and the copyright. So with that being said, Linda, hello and welcome. So I just want to go over this with you really quick. And it's the Jungle Abstracts quilt. This is the lined one. And according to what I'm seeing here, it's going to measure 60 by 60. Courtney has done this quilt already, and she's going to be available to help us through. All your measurements for the fabric that is required are based on the 42-inch wide. Good morning, Janet, and welcome. So with that being said, I'm just going to read to the back. And it says the lion is the first project in the Jungle Abstractions series. This foundation paper pieced quilt is made with one large striking scale block. Now, how amazing is that? When this comes together, this is going to be like mind-blowing because you're going to get to work it from beginning to end. Hello, Brendan. Welcome. So with that being said, as you're getting started, the instructions in this pattern assume that you know the basic knowledge of your foundation paper piecing. But you can always, there's tutorials available on Violet's website as well. And I will make sure that they are in the description box so that as we move forward with the process, if you don't understand something, you can slip in. But it's www.violetcraft.com/tutorials. And that's her walking you through each and every step of the preparing for your templates is what it's going to now. And it says, before beginning this pattern, make sure that you photocopy it or trace the pattern templates at 100% to retain the original template. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. Hello, Chloe, Sandra K, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Hey, Heather, the Debt-Free Quilters in the house. So you're going to cut out all the templates, but I'm going to show you how you're going to do this. And you're going to, as you cut them out, you're going to organize them. I'm going to show you how you're going to organize those as well. You're going to prepare your fabrics. And as you're doing that, I'm going to show you when you get this pattern, you're getting everything from start to finish, with the exception of you're going to need your fabric and you're going to need some Ziploc bags. And if you're going to be doing it on the freezer paper, of course, you're going to need to buy the freezer paper as well. So with that being said, we're going to get this party started. So I'm just going to lay the pattern down for just a second. I'm going to, as I walk through the items that you really need, but we all have them in our sewing rooms anyway, I'm going to just quick stack over here. You're going to need the iron of your choice. So that way you can get your seams flat. You can either use your large one or you can use the small little one. I call it my traveling quilt, my traveling iron. But this one will come in handy because it's got the deep peak at the top. You don't need to go buy a new iron. It's just whatever is going to work good for you. But you're going to need to have it handy because as you're working the project, you're going to be ironing. You're going to do it like setting the seams, setting it onto your paper. You're also going to need, but it's not listed in your pattern, some form of clip. What I chose to use when I got mine done was I used binder clips of all different colors and different sizes. You can use the binder clips or you can use the small clips that we use for our fabrics. So either one is fine to use, but you're going to see why I chose to use the binder clips on the setup of mine. And I'm just going to stack all these over here as I go through this. So you're going to need an add-a-quarter ruler. It's not a must, but you're going to be thanking us when you do. You're going to need the small add-a-quarter ruler and the large, but you can get by with just the large. Once we walk you through, you're going to see how important it is to, as you're folding and cutting and trimming each and every piece, your add-a-quarter ruler as your paper is folded. And I'm just going to use this as an example for those that have not paper pieced, but joining us. You're going to have, picture this as your fabric. You're going to lay this down and butt it up against. That's going to give you your true 1/4 inch as you're cutting. So that's just one little tidbit. So you're going to need your rulers. Then as you're shaping up your piece, you can either do it with these. When I'm doing anything, I like to use a sturdy, heavy ruler that has the marking of the 1/4 inch. But that's just my preference. You choose to do it however you would like. So I keep everything right handy. So as you're folding on your paper piecing, you're going to need a business card. You're going to need something thin, but it's going to be stable enough that you can use. What I choose to use when I'm doing paper piecing, it is the consistency of like a little thin cutting mat per se. Hi, those rulers make the project easy to do. Absolutely. So I don't want to lose them because they're clear. I just drew a squiggly line on each. That way I'll have the small one for my small pieces and the large one for my large, for when you're folding it back. And you're going to understand more of that as we work through the project. You're going to definitely need your scissors. You're going to need your rotary cutter. And you're going to want to change your blade in your rotary cutter before you start the project. You're going to thank me when you do. So I'm going to slide those over because we just talked about them. You're going to want to change the needle of your machine. That way it's a fresh needle and it's going to go up and down through the paper and the fabric and keep everything lined up just the way you need it. So make sure you do that too. For my project, I always stick whatever thread that I'm choosing to use with the project. That way I don't have to go hunting it. I'm going to use Aurifil for this one, and it's 2600 for this one. So this is going to now transition over into my bin. That way each and every time I work on this project, I've got my thread. I've got my pre-wound bobbins, and I'm using white on the bottom, and I'm going to use the gray on top. That way it's just going to blend really well to my liking and satisfaction. So that's just my personal preference. You don't need, but it's a blessing to have, so you don't have to shift gears as you're laying your project out. When you're doing just something little and you just need to give that seam just a little bit, you've got it. Fiskars blades are on sale right now, the 5-pack for $9. They're still currently on sale. And I'll have Joe drop the link in the description box for that as well. You can't go wrong with them.
No.
If you're doing it straight from the book, straight from the templates, you're going to want to have some form of glue. There's so many different kinds. When I'm doing a pattern of FPP, I generally just use a little dab of school glue. It's the roll stick, but there's so many different kinds out there. A little dab will do you. You don't need to like glue it all down, because then you're going to be like, why did I do that when it comes time to rip the paper? All you're doing is a little bit of stability. You're going to need some pins from time to time, whether it be when you're marrying all your pieces together in sections, or whether you just need it to hold that fabric still long enough for you to get your seams in. I've chose to use my flat ones. That way, as I'm working around the project and not really getting stuck and the blunt ends aren't really sharp, saves me a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears per se. You're also going to want to make sure that you do have, oh, we all need it, jack. Because no matter how careful and diligent you are, everybody messes up and you're going to have a little date with jack. I hope that you don't, but come prepared, because we all need him sometimes. So I'll sit him out of the way. There's 2 different kinds of tape. And you're going to see why we needed this one, but you're not going to want to use this one on your pattern. What I choose to use is either my blue painter's tape, if you have to date with jack, or you can use your seam guide. What's the other name for this, Courtney?
It's the seam guide tape.
Yeah, but there's other ones.
I don't know.
It's the paper.
Washi tape.
Washi tape. So it's either one, whatever works for you. I choose to use this. That way I can line it up on the line. And as I'm sewing, I'm still going to be able to see the direct line that I need. But use whatever you feel works best for you. So now you've got all of your stuff. You've got your machine. You're all ready to go. You're going to drop your all your markings. What do you sew at, Gort, when you're sewing?
Okay. For the preference is 1.8 to 2. Those, you can pick any of them between those 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do give you guys suggestions to go down a little bit, 1.5.
Yeah, anytime I'm doing FPP, I go to the 1/8. That's just my personal preference. It leaves me just that little bit of tiny wiggle room if I got a date with jack. But you do what works best for you. So I've also got my light box that I'm going to be pulling out. You don't have to have one, but as you're sewing and you're bending and folding your fabrics, it's going to come in handy. But like I said, this is not a need. This was something that was going to make my life just a little bit simpler. And it's really simple to use. If you don't have one, I picked it up on Amazon and I'll be dropping the link. It comes in quite handy. It'll just light up your pattern so you can make sure that you've got your seams lined up the way that you need. Otherwise, you're going to be doing like I do. You can either have a light handy that you can hold it up like this. But if I don't have this, I'm holding it up here to the light up above me. And you may even see me do that a few times as we're working this. So if you don't want to have your hands up in the air, you're going to want some form of light that you're going to be able to go like this and make sure it's lined up. It's just what your personal preference is as you're working the project. So got all that together. So I'll slide that back down here. I think I've got everything covered there. So the reason that you're going to need this is as you're working the pattern, I'm going to pull the pattern pieces out for just a second. I took Courtney's advice and I put all of my collars into Ziploc bags. I've marked them. Like this one here is going to be my white mane and the eyes. And it's going to color code with whatever it says here. In your pattern, you're going to cut off a little tidbit of your fabric and you're going to use your tape and you're going to want to make sure that it's good and secure, because as you're working the project, you're going to see when I hold this up, it's not going to give you any cuts or anything, but I want to make sure that you can see what I'm showing you. So look down here to where one of the blues are, and you're going to be able to see what I'm showing you. And then we're going to circle back to that on the pattern. But you're going to look at these little boxes next to where the color is. When I show it, do you see the prints? Those prints are going to be on your pattern. So as you're looking, I know my fabric that I need for this piece, for where it's calling for the white mane of eyes. I've already got it in a bag. So as I work the project, I'm going to just grab the bag, cut off what I need, and whatever's left, I'm going to put it back in said bag. So you're not going to have a bunch of scraps laying all over. I recommend that you do not throw anything away until the project is done if it's the tiny scraps. Like I said, what I've done is every single color I put in the Ziploc bag and I've got it marked. Look how close these two look. They both look pretty white, right? But they're not. This one is your white for your mane and your eyes, and this is called fog. And this one here is also going to be for the eyes, but it's also for the background. I went the extra with mine because I need to know what I'm doing all the time. So this one here is geranium. This is the color, and it says this is the mane. So as I'm working in the pattern and I'm looking at the color chart per se, I'm going to see the number and I'm going to make sure it matches the pattern. And then I'm going to grab the right bag, because you don't want to get all messed up. And Courtney will attest, because if you grab the wrong bag and you're not watching, you're going to get out of place with your pattern. Am I right?
Yep.
So this one is clementine, and this is another portion of the mane. I went with the exact colors when I ordered the pattern. I met online with Courtney and I said, okay, how did you do yours? And she explained it. And I said, I wanted to do mine just like the pattern, since this is the first big project like this we're taking on. This is coral. This is another part of the mane. But look at how beautiful these colors, when it all comes together. I know you're looking at it right now through all of this. There's creamsicle. And I wrote mane because this is one of the colors that it says mane. Then we've got brick. But every color in here, I have marked my bag. There's clay, there's paprika, there's powder blue, there's the blue for the eyes, and then there's black, and then there is another black, but it's called charcoal. So it's really important that when you're setting yourself up for success when you're FPPing. Whether it's this project or any, you want to set yourself up to do it the right way the first time out of the gate. That way you're not going back, well, what color was that? And trying to hold a tiny scrap up to whatever's in your bag. If you put your scrap right back, and what I'm going to do is I have small Ziploc bags for those little pieces that you're going to cut off or you've overcut the pattern. Each bag's going to have a tiny Ziploc, and I'm just going to slip it in case it ends up being a little piece I need, so I don't have to pull out a great big hunk. So that's just the way that I'm doing it. And I've told you about the tape. This tape you're going to use, you're going to cut your little snid bits off right here of all of your fabric, and that's going to show you how you're going to lay out all of your pieces. So there's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So I've got all mine set up. And as you're working the pattern says you lay them out number 1 through I want to make sure I'm saying this right because
You lay it out.
1
the
through
way-
126. So what I did was the pattern says you can trace it out however you would like, or you can photocopy it. I listened to what Courtney had recommended and I bought the freezer paper. Her reasoning for the freezer paper, and correct me if I'm wrong, is as you're doing it, you're not going to need to utilize the glue sticks per se. This is going to stick and adhere until we're ready
Mhm.
once the heat is applied. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's
Uh,
basically like a temporary here, but once you're done and it's time to tear, it will come right off.
Okay, let me look at the chat. Haha, I couldn't find for the life of me the picture of the geranium color. It's okay. Oh my good. What did you do? Right here. Can you tell everybody hello? It's been a hot minute since Bebe's been in the house.
But I got yelled at because we were filming like an emotional part or something, and everyone was like painting it out. Well, baby, get out.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and that was really because I was just coming in to get something for my doll, but everybody was like, "Get out!" And it was,
I love you. Do you want to go use a makeup wave? Yeah, they're downstairs in the downstairs bathroom. All right, take as all the selfies you want. Beverly Atkins and everybody's telling you hello, sweetheart. Hey. So with that being said, what Courtney's recommendation was, because you're going to want to hold on to the pattern since you've paid whatever you have for it. And the pattern writer also recommends that you take these to a store. I would recommend Staples, and you're going to photocopy, and you're going to want to make sure that it's at the 100 print. Am I saying that?
Yes.
100%.
There's, I believe, a square. If not, use your ruler to make sure it matches your original.
Yeah, it says when printing in the regions where you're going to use the ledger, not the standard print, and print it A3 at 94%, and it's going to allow your seam allowances. So it's really important to follow the directions and really read through before you ever make your first cut or anything. But as you're working, I'm going to say this the way that she has. That way I'm reading it directly from her. Hello, this is a paper template packet for the Jungle Abstractions quilt. The lion pattern. Please read these instructions carefully before copying or printing these templates. 1 copy each page. You're going to need dark enough setting to capture the background images. And what she's meaning by there is, can you see the little different prints that are in here? That's going to be your color coding that's going to match. Let me open this back up.
Heather, they're 11 by 14.
Yeah, these are. So I'm going to hold this up so that you can see, and then I'm going to slide this one in. So let me see. Let me pick this one here. It looks like a little web. So I'll get it close enough that you can see that it's like the web design. And then I'm going to come over here to my pattern, and I'm going to look for that same design, and it comes out down here, and it's called Creamsicle. Let me get it back far enough. It's right here.
Yeah.
Pattern. It has a little design on. So you're going to need to keep this handy the entire time that you're working this project, because every piece is color coded. So if you're going from copying this on the legal pages, the legal size, then this is going to give you the quick guide reference. But I did what Courtney recommended, and I did it on the freezer paper. So with that being said, it was quite a lengthy process. And I liked the idea that I'm not going to have to be sticking glue to my fabric. I'm just going to have to pin here and there. To me, that was the selling points. And I like the fact that as I'm working my project, the heat's going to make it adhere,
Mm.
if that makes sense. So we're going to give it a go and see how it works. So on mine, as I worked them, I did them exactly as the template. I cut out I put the paper down, copied it exactly as it was here on the freezer paper. And then as you can see, I didn't make every one of these designs in each one of these boxes. What I chose to do was I'm going to say like 10A. I know now that's creamsicle. So that's because it's got the webbed design. If that makes
Yeah.
really simple. So as I'm working my pattern, I took the extra time in every one of my pieces. I wrote the color, like I know 10C is going to have paprika, 10E is going to be coral. So when I get this piece, I'm going to pull those bags out. When this piece is done, I'm going to close those bags and put them back. Then I'll pull the next segment. And then once we work through the process, we'll start marrying these pieces together in the order that we're advised to do. So if you're not using the colors that's recommended in her pattern, and this is where Courtney's going to come in, I'm going to hold these up and you're going to see the little icons that's down here. And Courtney can explain how she chose to do hers.
I did my elephant and my wolf in different colors. So basically, when I go to a store, on the back of that pamphlet of the big cardboard one, will have your color measurements. I look at how much I need or how I want it, and then that's how I know for sure which ones go where.
So did you color in the way
No,
that you wanted? Okay, this is available. So if you choose not to use the colors that Violet's recommending, and bear in mind, that's her recommendation of the way that she wrote the pattern. I believe, what color did you do yours in? Your main
wolf
purple.
which one?
Are you doing this one?
Yes, I have a halfway done. That's what I put on the back burner for. I am doing what it came with 5 years ago. It was a full kit.
Okay,
The wolf and the elephant was not a full kit.
okay. Shelley Clark says, I used freezer paper for the FPP on my quilt a couple years ago. It was a new process for me, and I like the end results. Everything that I'm reading on it, it says it's a real game changer in the land of FPP. Courtney swears by it, so we're going to give it a go and we're going to see. I hear a lot of good things. So you guys that's sewing along, even if it's not this project and you're bringing your own to our sew nights, just feel free to copy a little piece on a piece of your freezer paper and give it a go and see if you like the results the way that it sticks. So what we were talking about here is you can do your color your line in however you would like it. You're going to get all the same little designs are in this. I'm trying to get it close enough, but it's not working. But it's everything you see in here. Once you color code it, is going to match these down here. Then you're going to take your swatches, just like I did on this one, and you're going to tape them in, if that makes sense. I want to keep this streamlined, very, very easy. It sounds like a lot of information, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed because this is to be fun.
Yes. And the other thing is of a tip, make a copy of it if you're going to color those so that you keep the original. So if you were to go back and do another one, you can make that copy for it.
Right. I know some people are just going to go ahead. They're one and done with this pattern because they want to move on to the next big project.
Yes.
So they're going to be sewing straight on these, which is fine. There's no reason you couldn't. So on the inside of the pattern, I gave you all the information on how you're going to prepare. We've got it into the bags. We've got our references. We've got everything lined up. So now we're set up for success to sew. What we're going to be doing is I've done as Courtney recommended and Violet. I put them in stacks of 10. That does a 2-part process for me. It means that if I've got 129 pieces, in the end, that means I've done every piece. So I don't have to worry about when I get to a part, what one am I missing? So I have 1 through 10, then it goes 20 through 29, 30, and I've just got all of mine. So as we work the process, they're here. And I've got all mine done, labeled, and ready to roll. So let me get these stacked back up here a bit, because I don't want them to get all messed up. So I've got mine laid here in my cards. And as I work mine, I'm just going to straight pin them up here on my design wall, because this project is going to be front and center from beginning to end. So as it's building out, whether it be a little piece that week or whether it be like this big, you're going to watch it grow as we're working this process. And I believe you're going to do the same on your side.
Yes.
Never done this before, but sounds very interesting. I will try something very simple. Absolutely. You don't have to do what we're doing as we're sewing it, but you're going to learn tips, tricks, and strategies along the way that's going to set you up for success in the world of FPP, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I've got everything together. I'm set up and ready to roll with this. We are kicking this off on the 28th. I'm set up for 10 o'clock p.m., but I'm going to be online about 9:45. I'm going to be over on So Becca's listening to a wrap up per se of her journey that she's on right now. She's on an amazing trip. And when she comes back, she's going to be doing a little fireside chat, filling us in on all the goodness that she's went through in the last few days. So that's going to be fun. I have a feeling if Donna really gets into FPP, she'll give Judy Niemeyer a run for her money. LOL. I have a couple of her patterns. I've already got the fabric lined up. So this is just going to give me that boost of confidence per se, that I'm going to be able to conquer my Judy Niemeyer. And that will be one that I am going to bring forth. And it's going to be a long one, because I'm only going to do that one once a month live. And I'm just going to take one part of my design wall. And as I do those pieces, keep it all together. It's just going to be a fun process. Let me see. Shelley Clark, pinning on the design wall is helpful. A friend did the elephant at the retreat, and it was fun to watch it grow. I think that's going to be a game changer to just, once we get each section piece, at first, I'm sure it's going to look a bit funny, but as you're putting everything together, it's going to start to grow and you're going to start to see it come together. So that's going to be fun. We are starting at number 1, Patty G. That is correct. And we're going to move through when we get, I want to say this the correct way, so I'm not messing anybody up. Like 1 through 7. I'm just going to turn the pattern around. So once we get those parts together, you're going to join right here. And then we're going to move on to 8, 9, and 10. So then we're going to join those. So I don't know how many we're going to get within a week, but you can work on this independently. What we're going to show you is the basics of what we're doing to work through the process. We are going to be working independently and privately on Zoom, working through if I have any hiccups or if Courtney has anything, we're going to work together, work through them, write ourselves a note, and we're going to talk to you and say, hey, when you get to this piece, watch for this. You're going to need to turn it a little bit left, a little bit right, whatever, But I believe this pattern writer does a phenomenal job. I bought 7 more of her patterns, and I'm stockpiling them because I really like the way these look. So as I'm coming to a close on this, I'm going to be getting the next project out, getting my fabric lined up. So I'm going to be able to move forward with that next. Would love to do this, but got too much on, can do it later. Absolutely. This is going to be fun to watch it grow, come together. It's kind of like coming to life.
Yeah.
I love, the reason I wanted to do this is they had me at the eyes. I'm telling you, it's just adorable, you know? So I'm going to hold the eyes up and you're going to get that little sparkle. Now, is that not adorable? The eyeballs had me.
Janet, you traced on freezer paper.
Yes.
Take your freezer paper and put it on top.
Yeah, it's going to be, let me pull this out. I want to make sure I'm showing her. So, excuse me. You're going to pull out one whole page. And these in here are two-sided. So if that helps you any. And what I did was, as I was tracing them, so I knew that side was done. I'm a Post-it-note snob, you know? So once I got this side done, I would put the Post-it-note there. So if I got called away or something, I knew I've already done this side, then I'd flip it over. So I would copy this. By the time you're done writing and copying, you're going to be like, so then once it's totally done, I'd peel it off and go to the next. You're going to lay your freezer paper. You're just going to cut them in, like I did 12-inch sections. I just stripped it down to 12. And then all you're going to do is lay it on. You can see through the freezer paper.
Yeah.
You're going to use your ruler and you're going to outline. And once you get that big outline, you're just going to do the lines. You don't have to draw all these fancy, intricate details. All you're going to need to do is put your numbers, then look at those there and match them with your fabric. And then I just wrote the name. I'm going to regret this, but Sugary Doo has videos on paper piecing with freezer paper. She's very good at it, actually. Absolutely. Everybody has their own knack and talents, Heather. And go ahead and watch her. That's awesome. This is a great idea with the post on the paper. That's what I had to do. I do it on all my work. That way I can refer back, because if I'm getting caught away, anybody that knows me knows I keep my Post-it notes here. And wherever I'm at, whether any project, I write a note on the Post-it note and I pin it. That way it won't blow away and whatever. And if I've got to move on to the next project for a bit, I know when I look at that note where I left off. So with that being said, Courtney, am I forgetting anything? I think I've covered all the
everything. I believe you covered everything.
That was what we wanted to do, right?
Yep. And the thing is, when she picks the next animal, I'm more than likely gonna do it with her anyway.
Yep. I've got them in a bin here under my long arm. So when I'm halfway through this one with you, I'm just going to pull them out. We're going to have a look-see, whether it be the small wall hanging of a rooster, whether it's the big one. We'll see. Do you have to hand trace? Can't do with a printer. I don't know, Janet. I hand did, but I would bet, and this is just me guessing, if you cut them the same size as the legal paper, that should ought to do it. And then you can run them through one at a time, but I don't know. I would cut one and see. Only you know what your printer's capable of.
Most home printers aren't 11 by 14. That's the problem.
Right.
And most stores may not do it.
Right. And if it's a legal paper, that's the standard size. I have the atomic starburst pattern. You have to send me a picture of that, Heather. That would be amazing to see. So as you can see, I have my granddaughter for the night. I've been on the road traveling a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and wish you all a fabulous night tonight. I know there's many people on. I want to thank you for joining us. Anybody that's catching the replay, if you have any questions, feel free to address them to us. we can answer them. You can, I'll have Joe drop the link. My email is Donna@handmadebying.com, and I will answer you straight away. This is going to be fun. It's meant to be fun. If we decide that everything's not going to be YouTubed, we can sideline it and do a little sidebar with a Zoom if anybody has questions or they're stuck. We're here to work together, and this is to be a fun project. You might need a carrier page, a regular piece of paper on top of the freezer paper to make sure it doesn't stick to the printer. Bye, Brenda, and thank you guys. So you guys have a fabulous evening. God bless. Take care, and I'll see you back in the next video. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.